Welcome back, dear participants, to the third day of 3 days online faculty development program on sustainable building materials and practices, sponsored by APJ Abdul Kalam Technological University. For the second session, we have got another prominent speaker, Dr. Job Thomas. Dr. Job Thomas, who is working presently as Professor of School of Engineering at Cochin University of Science and Technology, Kochi. He completed his BTech in Civil Engineering with first rank and MTech in Structural Engineering with fourth rank from Kerala University. He obtained his PhD from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. He is also a scholar in MBA from Cochin University with first position. He has done many funded development projects and research by AICTE, UGC, DST, KSCT, KSCST, and many other organizations. He has also undertaken many consultancies of organizations like Naval Base, Infra, Harbour Department, ASAP, KITCO, KIAL, PWD, and various private agencies. He has published around 85 papers in both national and international journals. He is the author of one textbook in concrete technology and also organized many short-term courses and workshops. He is the reviewer of ASCE Journal, Bridge Engineering Journal, Journal of Institution of Engineers, then GBSC, etc. He is a member of Board of Governors of Infopark Kochi, Tender Evaluation Committee of Kerala SIDCO, Subject Expert Recruitment Committee of Rajiv Gandhi Center for Aquaculture, and many more. He received Guiding ICI Best MTech Thesis Award in 2016. I am extremely happy to invite Dr. Job Thomas to deliver his talk on the topic Sustainability Index Evaluation of Building Materials. Sir, please.
Thank you, Ms. Gidu, for the nice introduction. And at the outset, I wish to congratulate the coordinators and the Adopt Department, Ms. Manju, for inviting me for this particular FTP. And total, how much participants? 27 participants are here. So hopefully,
actually 60 participants are there.
Okay, 27 logged in. Okay, this is everywhere it is like
they'll
this.
join shortly.
Okay. And anyway, you are hearing about this sustainability aspects of building materials and the practices on in the area of sustainability for the past 2 days. And very eminent personalities have been come to this platform and discuss many important aspects of the sustainability, and in which I have also noticed some work. Professor Palanisamy from NIT Trichy, he has come with some artificial aggregate, and I am also working in the area of artificial aggregate, and so some portions sometimes we will be matching. Okay, please excuse me for that. And anyway, I am not going to deal with the material side of it, material properties of it, but I am going to deal with the sustainability index evaluation. And what is the importance of sustainability index evaluation? First of all, I wish to explain, and some tools I will explain, and thereafter I will just explain one case study, and that is done by my PhD scholar. He has completed his PhD work and submitted thesis, and is about to attend for the open defense. Okay, so in sustainability index evaluation, when you talk about sustainability, okay, there are so many aspects you need to take, you need to address. But once all this addressed, finally, I want to get a count, a score, something like that. Okay, so once that score is obtained, I will say I want for 10 materials. I want to select the best material out of it. Or when I want to go for a most sustainable item to be purchased. Then this kind of analysis is required. Okay, so in such situation, an index evaluation or a score evaluation is required. So based on the score, highest score is best and lowest score is the worst in terms of sustainability. That is what finally we will be calculating. So how to do that? It is a mathematical procedure basically. Can you see my slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Can you put it in the slideshow mode?
Yeah.
Yes. Now
it is okay. So it is nothing but a multi-criteria decision-making model. It is a mathematical tool only. Okay, so many mathematicians know this, and there are in this area of wisdom, there are many tools available. Okay, many sub-tools available, and finally they all come up with the index or a score calculation. Okay, so this is the method we are using. MCDM. This is the abbreviation MCDM, and this method is very common among many engineers as well as this managers. As per this as per the definition of MCDM, it is nothing but taking a decision in presence of multiple, usually conflicting criteria. This is important. So when there is a set of conflicting criteria, then this kind of tools are required. Okay, the simplest one of the one of MCDM is our linear programming that you might have studied in your basic 10th classes or lower classes. In which what we do is this picture is something like a linear programming problem for which we have so many criteria will be introduced, and all these lines will be drawn, and there will be one objective functions and objective function, and if that objective function is related to profit, we will be choosing a point with the large at the largest distance from the origin. So that means we get the highest profit. If it is related to something like an expenses, we want to bring the expenses down as low as possible for the system. So the case with the lowest distance from the origin will be selected. So that is the simplest way to explain this problem. And the applications, definitely lowest energy material, better environmental aspect of sustainability can be evaluated. And in supply chain management, it is very important to identify the best supplier for the goods in the purchase department. Similarly, the best route map we can prepare. That is also a technique of MCDM. And best material, that is what this part is what is going to be discussed today. And then quality management, the highest quality item can be identified, and so many other areas. Risk management, the low risk path can be identified, like your critical path method, that low risk path can be identified. And tourism management, best tourist spot that need to be approved, that can be identified. So there are so many applications for this MCDM, but out of this, today we will be discussing how it is used for a material selection and index calculation. So in complexity is that there are many criteria available, level 1 criteria, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to M criteria. And so there are many solutions. And some solutions, if you take this route from criteria 1 to alternative 1, then it will have a particular weightage, and some other criteria will have another weightage. So this weightage will be different, or score will be different, and these things we have to identify. And so they are all interconnected. So when this is one level of alternative, and level 3 alternatives will be there. After this, one more layer can also happen. And like your ANN, like artificial neural network systems, it is all interconnected. And when you look into the literature, this is published in the year 2015 by Mardani in 2015. And he has collected all the literatures connected with this multiple criteria decision-making techniques between 2000 to 2014. And out of that, if you see, the highest score has got altogether this many number of papers were there, and out of that 27% of the papers were in the area of operational research, like your supply chain management, best route analysis, best route analysis, etc. In material aspects, engineers not that much use this technique, but it is very important, especially in sustainability calculation, and that is why we now started propagating this aspect, how to calculate this score for this different materials. So we will discuss a case study at the end of this session, and that will, I think, you will be benefited by looking into that case study. And there will be classifications of MCDM. There will be two types. One is multi-objective. Objective functions are many, and multi-attribute functions are many. When combined, most of the cases combined case. Okay, combined MODM and MABM together will appear. And if you look into the literature, there are so many methods available. If you very common one, very simplest one is weighted sum model, then weighted product model. Electri is another technique. So Electri is nothing but this elimination at choice, translating reality. TOPSIS is their technique for order preference by similarity to ideal solutions. Likewise, so many methods are available. And the end of the story, what in all methods, what will happen is you will get a score. So the method of calculation is different. Okay. And in some applications, this method is better, and some other applications, other method is better. So you can all refer this and identify best method in your case, and that can be utilized. As we do for all problems, we have to do a whole to part. We have to divide the entire problem into subparts, and then we have to collect the score for the individual part, and then we have to assemble it. Okay, aggregate it. That is the way we proceed. Okay, in example, you will be getting more idea about it, and this part, or probably many people might have already discussed. Normally, we analyze the sustainability based on three aspects. One is the social aspect, environmental aspect, and economical aspect. So these three are the main criteria for this any sustainability analysis. And the solution is a case with socially acceptable, environmentally safe, and economically feasible. How this is obtained as in terms of a mathematical number that we will be discussing. Okay, this is very similar to that of our ANL. Many layer of alternatives will be there. You have to identify the best alternative suit for the goal. And even for getting the sub-criteria, main criteria I have already discussed, and that is social, environmental, and economical. And for each main criteria, we require sub-criteria. And how to get the sub-criteria? The first one simple method is refer to research papers. Okay. This is research papers. Then IGBC, Indian Green Building Council, and GRIHA, and then other option is LEED. And BREEAM. So many frameworks are available. And why we can use the same framework? That is another question. We can use the same framework because when you want to do a whole analysis of a whole building. These frameworks are mainly talk about the building analysis, okay, or constructional method analysis, and in the questions are arranged in that. But when we talk about when we introduce a new material, when we want to check with respect to a material which is not available commonly in all places, some of these criteria, sub criteria, or some of the questions available in the yes, anybody want to ask something?
No, sir. Participants, please mute.
Okay, so sub criteria available in the main in this frameworks cannot be fully utilized. Okay, in that case we have to go for the research papers, which is very very similar to those who analyze the sustainability, very similar to your material. That is the only other options. So in India, if there is no standard available, IS codes are available. So we go for ISO standard. ISO 21931 gives you for part 1 building, and ISO 21931 part 2 gives you the details with respect to the civil engineering works. So how to analyze the sustainability of a civil engineering work, different work procedure, we can do this based on the 21931 part 2 and 21931 part 1. And if you look into the details, you can see that the part 1 gives you about building methodologies and other things. There are some other techniques. 51393, ISO 51393 can be considered. And if you look into the part 1, they talk about environmental aspect, they talk about social aspect, framework, and the principles of assessment. So these are the main aspects they talk about. And part 2, these are the topics they deal with, and that is very, very interesting. If you are working on the comparison of the construction methods, probably this part 2 will be more suitable. Okay. And materials, for comparing the materials, yet another one is there, 21930, and they talk about PCR, product category rules. They talk about life cycle analysis. They talk about environmental product declaration. So these are the main aspects they talk about. And you can, if you refer the some of the points which is given in that, maybe those points which is given in these literatures, that is applicable for your product. If it is a new one, your product need to be identified and utilized as a sub criteria. So now I will be just moving to my case study, very interesting. And we prepared cold bonded aggregates. And I think Palanisamy was talking about this, or something else.
Different, sir, different.
Different. Is it geopolymer boards?
Some part of geopolymer was there,
Uh-huh.
that mixing and all. That,
Okay, okay. So we have developed now this is all technically cold bonded aggregates. We used it for some special applications. Cold bonding is a very simple technique, and this paper is got published in Journal of Cleaner Production, very high impact factor journal. You can refer and get it. How to do the score calculation, sustainability score calculation. That is what we are dealing with this, dealing in this paper. And my research scholar B. Harilal did this work. So here also we talk about socially acceptable, eco-friendly, and economically feasible solution. That is the thing what we are going to evaluate, and for which we have referred some journals. And building as a whole, Kang et al. We have taken, and some materials, some other materials. Akadiri is the part. Some literatures are available. These literatures we have referred to develop the framework. And there are many methods. It is one method is called MICA, multi-index comprehensive analysis tool. It is a weighted average technique only, and it is proposed by Popovilla and Shah that has been used in this work. And in other methods, some tricky techniques of TOPSIS and DSS was also brought into this calculation. And the research significance of this work is identification of the framework for the special course aggregate called cold bonded aggregate, identifying the sub-criteria for this particular framework. These are the two main important things what we have done. And in the case study, we illustrate that how this is being utilized for the case of cold bonded quarry dust aggregate. So this is my aggregate. There are three aggregates we considered. One is called CSA crushed stone aggregate, our regular aggregate only. The picture is it is familiar to all of you. And thereafter we made fly ash, cold bonded fly ash aggregate. This is fly ash we have used for making these balls. And cold bonded quarry dust aggregate. We used quarry dust, the waste dust part of the quarry sand. Okay, that is washed out and it is otherwise used for filling land and all. So this waste material is used for making the balls. In the cold bonding process, very simple. What you do in this work, quarry dust or fly ash is mixed with cement. Initially, they are the raw materials. They mix with cement. So the dry mixture. In the during the mixing process, we spray water to it, and once you spray water to it, what will happen? It will ball. It will form in the form balls. Okay, that round balls. This kind of balls it will be formed. Then we sieve it to our size, and the aggregate passing through the sieve will be utilized. If I am looking for 20 mm aggregate, the aggregate passing through 20 mm sieve will be used. That balls will be taken, and the larger pieces again we will crush it and put it in back to the mixer machine, and we again spray during the spraying operation. It will form balls, and it is then air dried and then moist cured. After air drying this balls, it is taken in a bag, and in the gunny bag we stack it, and then that is put in a water tank, and that water tank we will be using and using for curing. And after curing, these balls are used as aggregate. And you may think why this is required at this stage. You can buy this crushed stone aggregate itself from the market. Okay, so the similar question I faced when I do my MTech thesis. What I did is in 1995-96, that period, I used quarry sand for preparing the concrete, and some properties we have determined, and we published it in the Journal of Structural Engineering by this CSIR Structural Engineering Research Center, CRC. That time people asked me, why do you use this quarry sand? Everywhere sand is available. Then what is the importance of that? But on a later date, see, due to the disfigurement of the riverbed and all, the mining of sand is banned, and now everyone is using quarry sand. In a similar way, you need to expect in another 20-30 years, there will be a ban for quarrying the coarse aggregate too. Then you have to think about using alternative materials. Okay, so that time a equivalent or a alternate to the conventional crushed stone aggregate, coarse aggregate, we need to identify and start using it. If in sustainability aspect, if you think, then you will realize that if I am start using such kind of material now, the stopping period or the limit to growth period will be pushed little more away, or the last date of your the first day of coming the ban will be just pushed to little few more years in the forward direction. So for that, if you start using alternate materials as coarse aggregate, then definitely this kind of this ban can be pushed to some more years, maybe 30 may go to 50 or 55 years. So that is the approach. So this is the equipment and used for the preparation of the cold bonded aggregate. It is it contains a pan and then mixing blades, and you put the material. You can rotate the angle of the pan by rotating this wheel, and similarly the material will be get rotated. This pan will be getting rotated, and if this particular equipment is not available, your conventional tilting drum concrete mixer itself will do the work. So initially we were using that concrete mixing drum in our lab, small machine. That was using that we were using to prepare the cold bonded aggregate. What we did is the only thing is that you cannot put load materials are similar to that of the concrete. You cannot fill the material and then start rolling it. It is not possible. Little quantity you can add, and then you roll it, and then prepare the balls, and that you can take it out again, add a little more quantity. Likewise, in the batches you have to do it. So that is important. And in any sustainability index evaluation approach, first we have to define what are you going to do. So that is the first step, definition of the sustainability. I am defining sustainability like this, that you have to say. So I consider social, environmental, and economical aspect. I am going to get qualitative data and quantitative data. Qualitative data means I am going to conduct a survey among the stakeholders, and then based on the survey, we assess the qualitative data, and then we go for quantitative data. So if you look into the research, recent research papers, they are more concentrating on the quantitative data rather than the qualitative data. Why? Because qualitative data is localized in the sense for a particular region, that respondents will give you one set of answer. If the data what I am collecting here in Ernakulam may not be correct for the case of or a place in North India, may not be appropriate for in a place in Europe. So there can be variation. So the qualitative data is having that variability that you have to keep in mind. Okay, so your data, the qualitative data you collect from the stakeholders is applicable for your region or where you conduct the survey. Okay, otherwise your horizon need to be increased for collecting the qualitative data. The second aspect is quantitative data. Definitely the standard literatures need to be used, and based on the standard literature you need to calculate, and those values does not change much. Okay, so once you calculate quantitative data, that will be more or less same for all over the India, at least. Okay, so the second step is defining the system boundary, sustainability assessment system boundary. This is my boundary. In which all aspect I am going to deal with. I am going to deal with the raw materials and like my quarry dash, fly ash, cement, etc. And thereafter, I am going to deal with the water, what is going to be sprayed to this, and then water that is used for curing the aggregate that need to be taken into account. What is the energy input? Like the transportation energy is there, process energy is there. So many things will come in. Pollutant energy will be there. All these things need to be taken into account. And the manpower also need to be taken into account. So these are my input data, and these are my process. Raw material collection is there. Raw material transport for a pelletizing unit. In a pelletizing unit, it is pelletized, and then I am going to drying and curing the pellets. Okay, drying and curing the pellets. So this is the one. Three aspects I am going to do: social, environmental, economical. That I have already discussed. So three aspects: social, environmental, and economical. Our triple bottom method is used. And since this is a new material, all I could not get from the same literature or lead or BREEAM. I may not be able to take all the data, all the sub-criteria, for which I have referred so many other literature. And as one is in social, I have taken 6 criteria, sub-criteria: aesthetics, health and safety, local labor in production, then local materials that is getting used, and what is the impact to the social aspect, and raw material extraction easiness, and hazardous environment due to blasting. Like in a CSA, there's a crushed stone aggregate, probably hazard blasting is required, and how it will be affecting the locality, local social aspect. So these are some of the literature's sources for getting this sub-criteria, and that is being used here. Similarly, in the case of environmental aspect, this 6 criteria we have considered. Even is for the waste and dust utilization. So the sustainability aspect, waste, if you use more waste, that is more sustainable. That is the concept. And value addition of waste material. So I am using fly ash or the quarry dust part to some value addition. I am making into balls and using it for the concrete. And environmental protection aspect, and sound pollution aspect, land pollution aspect, disfigurement of land, and total energy. Then in economical aspect, we have considered life cycle aspect and capital investment. So these are some of the literatures used for getting this sub-criteria. And once this sub-criteria, as an author, as a preliminary investigator, once I got it, I have to check with the experts whether this is okay. Okay, so that is the first next step, that is called expert survey. So I am asking them to give a score for my different aspects. So I have given for socials, social 6 aspects were there. I asked them to give a score whether it is relevant or not. So in 5-point scale, I have asked to do 5. 1 is for the lowest and 5 is for the best. Okay, this is good for the sustainability aspect. Out of out of this, 39% people suggested that aesthetics is okay. It should be considered in social. And similarly, 33% people said that health and safety shall be considered in social. And likewise, I have got the score, and then a relative index is calculated. In relative index calculation, it is nothing but a score calculation. It is calculated based on this. This is 5 into maximum number of people multiplied by that is in the denominator, and the score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 multiplied by score multiplied by the number of people for this number of people opted for that particular score. So people opted, Y1 is people opted for that particular score. S is the score what they have marked, and then S max is the maximum score, that is 5, and N is the total number of persons. So like this, I have got a relative index get calculated. And this relative index, once it is greater than 0.7, I accept that as okay. Okay, so when the score is greater than 0.7, I accept that that particular sub-criteria is important. Okay, so this is a plot of that S1 to S6, S1 to SS, and E1 to E6, and C1 and C2. The what value I got, the relative index, all cases I got value greater than 0.7. So then I decided that okay, this is these sub-criteria can be considered. And in addition to that, I have given a column that do you suggest any more criteria? So I checked those criteria also, and I checked with the tabulated that, and for them the value I got was less than 0.7. So those criteria I have discarded. So few people only suggested that particular criteria. So that is a rank analysis based on the expert survey. That is the first phase, just to say okay to the sub criteria what is considered initially. Then next phase is the collecting data from the stakeholders. We have collected data from planning engineers, design engineers, site engineers, contract engineers, aggregate producers. What we have done is we have prepared again a Likert scale survey sheet, and we have given the manufacturing, because this is a new material, everyone may not be knowing about it. So we have given a video about it, and after seeing the video, we ask them to mark their score for the particular case. So this is the stakeholders response collection approach. And in addition to that, that is LCA qualitative data we have got like that. And quantitative data, as I mentioned, literatures are used, and we aggregate, normalize this. This we will be explaining later. And after that aggregation, we aggregated it, and a score is calculated, and the best score item is asked to select. That is the choice for the client or the selection person who is involved in selecting the materials. So after doing the exercise, what we got is these are the scores. Out of 5, aesthetics, everyone accepted 4.46 was the score for crushed stone aggregate. And for round aggregate, some people have a doubt whether this is when this is purely circle or a spherical type of aggregate, whether these aggregates are effective in inside concrete or not. Because of that, some value is slightly lower for this. Okay, and these are more or less almost same, 3.31 and 3.34, more or less same, because both are almost round in shape. And similarly, other cases S1 to S6 as well as E1 to E6 and C1 and C2, we have calculated. The score, and for up to S1 to S6 and E1 to E5, we have used Likert scale, that is LS. That is what unit is given as Likert scale, 1 to 5. Okay, Likert scale is given, and then for the other cases, energy calculation and life cycle cost and capital investment, we have done quantitative data. We calculated it based on literature and other documents. So these are the details. And this is the way how you calculate the total energy. Total energy is equal to embedded energy plus the transport energy. So embedded energy from the literature we have collected, and we have calculated this. This is for transport energy. This is the embedded energy. This is the value we have collected from various literature. Details of the literature are here. All details are available in my paper. So you can, if you refer to my paper, you will get all the details. This table is also taken from that paper only. and total transport energy plus embedded energy, total energy is calculated. And for each and every material, like CSA, CB, FAA, and cold bonded quarry dust aggregate, cold bonded fly ash aggregate, the values are total energy is being calculated. Like all the data we have calculated. So this is the way we have calculated the total energy. Once then transport in this, the transportation energy, somebody will be having a doubt how this transportation energy is we got. Transportation energy depending upon the distance in which the material need to be transported. Based on that, we have assessed this, and how much diesel required for the truck to transport this, and in one truckload, how much quantity of the material can be put. And this is the embedded energy based for the diesel, and based on that, this transport energy is calculated. And life cycle cost is calculated based on the cost as source, and transportation costs and pollutant costs. This and details are available in my paper. And based on that, the final calculation data, I have put it in the form of a graph. This is for CSA, and this is for fly ash aggregate. This is for the quarry dust aggregate. And then we have done normalization. For example, in normalization, what is important? Aesthetics. Highest mark is the best. Okay, highest mark is the best. That is the case of aesthetics. Similarly, in the case of pollution, sound pollution or land pollution, lowest mark is the best. Okay, so there are two cases. One is highest mark is the best, lowest mark is the best. So minimum is the best or maximum is the best. So in that, we have calculated the normalization score based on this. Highest score is the best. This formula is used. Lowest score is the best. This formula is used. So this data is normalized, and this is the normalized data for the this one, and this is for the CSA, and this is for my fly ash aggregate, and this is for my quarry dust aggregate. Sustainability index evaluation is calculated, and based on the weight. In my case, I have given weight equally for social, economical, and environmental case. Same equal weightage is given, which means the total weight is 1. So 1/3 for the social, 1/3 for the economical, 1/3 for the environmental. Say equal weight is given. And if you are very particular with respect to the calculation of weight, then what you are supposed to do is you have to get the weightage given by different frames, these frameworks, and that you have to aggregate and you have to get the weightage for the individual case. That is also possible. Okay, so that is one method. In my case, because I have used this equal weightage system, that is also very common in many places, and many people have already using it. And equal weight, based on the weightage, we have calculated the weighted score. And from the weighted score, we have calculated this score for the social, total score for the social. In the case of CSA, adding all these things, social, adding all these things, I get this value. Total score for CSA, total score for CBA. In case of social, this was a total score. And once I add these three values, I will get the total score for the particular CSA. This is for the social alone, and then environmental. This is for the economical. So the weighted score, weighted sum of the score is calculated, and that is taken. And for social, environmental, and economical, and then social plus environmental plus economical is calculated. That is my sustainability index. So sustainability index we have calculated. For CSA, it is 0.61. And for CB, that fly ash aggregate, cold bonded fly ash aggregate, it is 0.73. And then cold bonded corridor segregate, it is 0.78. So this is the value, and this is for social. Social probably this is 0.261 and 266 when I consider all the social aspects. And then environmental aspect, this is getting more value because this is 0.41 only for CSA, and this is environmental aspect 2.6 and 2.8. And why? Because more waste materials are being utilized. Okay, so environmental aspect, waste material utilization gives you a very important important, especially when you do the calculation of the score. So it is very important. And I am recapping the calculation. You have to define your sustainability index, or how I am going to calculate my sustainability index. And then we have to define the system boundary. Then we have to identify criteria and sub-criteria. Then you have to add together weightage you have to get, and then you have to add together. Aggregation is nothing but add together to finalize your SI, and the highest SI. Compare the SI and take the decision. If this is the case, the corridors cold bonded aggregates gives you a highest value, and this is based on the survey within my locality. So this survey is conducted in Ernakulam district, and based on that only we have developed this. So summary, we have used triple bottom method, very common, and then sustainability index calculation we have explained, and the highest sustainability material like this. This is only a technique. Okay, this is only a calculation procedure. Like this, you can compare any other three materials. Okay, that three materials, the best material, like my brick, solid block, hollow block, and what other possible masonry units like a laterite. You can just do this analysis, and you can just calculate the sustainability index, and you can select a best sustainable material for the future construction. With this, my presentation is over. Oh, okay, 12:30. Okay, thank you. Any other, if you want to have any questions, you can ask me now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the informative talk. Your words were full of enthusiasm and valuable knowledge. Well explained about MCDM methods, sub-criteria analysis, methods for manufacturing cold bonded aggregates and all. I hope all the participants have benefited a lot.
Oh, thank you. And whether my topic is same as some others already presented, or something new has come in?
No, sir, everything was new. Everything was new.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, Solo teacher is also here.
Only job.
Thank you.
Actually, I'm Delhi.
Oh,
Both
okay.
are in Delhi only.
So if you have, need this paper, anybody, participants, if you need this paper, please send me a mail or contact me. I can share you, because it will be available only in Science Director now. Otherwise, getting this paper is difficult right now. And if those who want to do some research in this area, probably it will be useful. My paper will be useful. I think, okay, that they can use. You contact me. And if you have any questions right now, you can.
Yes, sir. It's time for question answering session. There is one question in the chat box. The question is, for EIA clearance of engineering projects, is sustainability aspects of presented considered? Whether total availability of the material in a locality, future demands considered?
Yes, total availability of the material is taken into account. Then only we can, that material will be sustainable. If it is, it should be locally available. Even if it is a waste material, if it is available at a far distance, the transportation cost will be very high. So that may not be sustainable. When you calculate this, the quantitative data, what I have discussed, That time you will realize the far distance waste materials may not be suitable, may not be sustainable, and its index will be low.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I hope my time and all will be within the available slot itself.
Okay, sir.
And
Sir, it's
hope
time
I
for-
didn't bore you. This is a lunchtime for all. Okay.
Is there any other questions? Participants, please unmute and can ask you a question.
Sir, Job sir, myself
Yes.
Vasudev here, sir.
Okay. Tell me, sir.
Sir, I have just a small question, like this cold bonded aggregates that we make. So what all tests normally we are supposed to do to it to be extended towards our concrete? Could you please explain on that, sir?
Actually, cold bonded aggregate is an alternate material, and this cold bonded aggregate is a substitute for this. And why this is not practiced these days? Because no, you get this. There is no shortage for this crushed stone aggregate. And when you start seeing shortage for the crushed stone aggregate, definitely everyone has to go to alternate materials or substitute materials. And the technical feasibility is yet another part of the study. Okay, so that we have done it, and some a few papers are already there. The composite strength evaluation, tensile strength evaluation, durability criteria evaluation. So, in ASC we have published one paper, ASC Journal of Materials, Civil Engineering Materials. If you search my name, you can see that papers in the net. No, the link you can see. You can look into that. The technical aspects is not normally taken in the sustainability point of view. Technical we separately calculate. Once it is technically feasible, only this sustainability aspect we will be looking into. If it is not at all feasible according to our technical concept, then there is no point in doing this sustainability criteria. One sustainable material which is not suitable for my concrete work, then there is no point in suggesting that material.
Yes.
Thank
Got
you.
it, sir. Got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
I hope there are no more questions. Once again, thank you all for the active participation. Thank you, Job sir.
Thank you very much. Shall I leave?
Sure, sir.
Thank you. Okay.
We will have a break for lunch, and I request all the participants to join the same link for the last session sharp at 2 p.m. After the session, we will be having the valedictory function, and the winner of our quiz will be announced during the function. Thank you.